Hey guys, what's up? I'm Erin and welcome back to the channel. Retirement accounts and health savings accounts will be getting a boost to their limits in 2023. And these limit increases are sizable because of our current inflation levels. All of these tax advantaged accounts have limits. Just know that anytime the government is willing to give you a tax break, there's going to be limits on it. But still, these accounts are wonderful. I am a huge fan of them and I think you should take advantage of them whenever they're available to you. For instance, let's say you have $500 to invest every single month throughout your entire working career. Let's look what that would turn into if you use different types of accounts. We will look at 3 account types. Taxable, faces tax consequences annually on earnings and withdrawals made in the year. An example of this would be a traditional brokerage account. A tax-deferred account, money grows tax-free until you start making withdrawals. An example of this would be a traditional IRA. And a tax-free account, generally meaning you would add post-tax dollars to the account and then it grows tax-free and then withdrawals are made completely tax-free. An example of this would be the Roth IRA. Well, in a traditional taxable account, $500 invested every single month over 40 years would grow to roughly $1.5 million. In a tax-deferred account, that would grow to roughly $2.5 million. That's the assumed value after paying taxes on your withdrawals. And the tax-free account, the value would be roughly $2.9 million. So clearly, allowing your money to grow and not having to pay taxes on it each and every single year is a huge advantage. Over the course of an entire investing career, that can result in over a 7-figure difference. As always, if you're interested in playing with this calculator, if you want to play with the rates of return, the amounts invested, the tax rate faced, etc., things like that, I will link it down below in the description box. That way you can personalize it to your needs. With that, let's dive into the accounts that are getting a boost to their contribution limits. The 401k, the TSP, the 403b, and the 457b all share the same contribution limits. In 2023, you will be able to contribute up to $22,500, which is a $2,000 increase from the limit for 2022. These account types are all defined contribution plans. Employees take a percentage or a portion of their paycheck, contribute it to the account for their future retirement. And as of 2021, roughly only 67% of employees had access to these retirement plans. I think if you have access to one, count yourself as lucky and take advantage of it. But sadly, only 52% of workers who have access to these plans actually participate in them. Participation is much better in the government sector, coming in at 82%. Just a fun fact, I've actually never worked a job where I've had access to a 401k, so I've always been really jealous of these high contribution limits. If you are able to max out this account type, it does put you in a pretty special category, as only 12% of workers actually max out their 401k in any given year. For many people, maxing out this account type, stocking away an additional $22,500 just isn't feasible. But if you can, more power to you, and I think that's fantastic. Now, if you are 50 or older, you are eligible for catch-up contributions of $7,500, an increase in $1,000 from the previous year, making your annual max contributions $30,000. Next up, we have the traditional and the Roth IRA. Max contribution limits will be $6,500 in 2023, an increase of $500 from 2022. Now, I love the IRA. The only thing you need to qualify for an IRA is earned income. That's it. If you make money and pay taxes, you can open your own IRA. I think every worker should have one, and you would think the vast majority of workers do, right? They don't. Only 35% of US taxpayers have an IRA account. 24% have a traditional IRA, and 11% have a Roth IRA. Those numbers are honestly so low that it breaks my heart a little. I just know that not every employee has access to retirement accounts through their employer. IRAs are a great option. Every employee has access to them, and it allows your money to grow completely tax-free. Of course, you do have to take the initiative yourself to open up this account, but it is super easy to do. Just find a low-cost brokerage house like Vanguard, Fidelity, or Charles Schwab. They're all great options, and you can have this account open in less than 10 minutes. I honestly wish the contribution limits were higher. This is literally the most inclusive retirement account option available to all workers. Nonetheless, it has the lowest contribution limits. There are catch-up contributions for both of these accounts if you are 50 or older, and that amount is $1,000, same as it was in 2022, meaning that you could contribute up to $7,500. When it comes to a traditional IRA, you contribute pre-tax dollars, so money you haven't paid taxes on yet. It gets to grow completely tax-free, and then once you start taking withdrawals in retirement, then you pay taxes on it. It's also important to note that this account type does have required minimum distributions once you reach a certain age. If you have a Roth IRA, you contribute post-tax dollars, so money you've already paid taxes on, it grows completely tax-free, and then once you start taking withdrawals in retirement, you can take that money out completely tax-free. You can contribute to a traditional IRA no matter what your income. On the other hand, a Roth IRA faces income limits. Those too are being upped in 2023, with the phase out starting for individual tax filers at $138,000 and $218,000 for those married and filing jointly. And an often forgotten about perk of the IRA is that you're allowed to make contributions until the tax season closes. For instance, you can still make 2022 contributions until April 15th of 2023. So if you're running a little bit behind and you want to max out this account, but it feels like the end of the year is a little bit too close and you feel rushed, don't worry, you still probably have some time on your hands as long as you can get that in before April 15th. Next, we have contribution limits for SEP accounts, or Simplified Employee Pensions, which will increase to $66,000 in 2023. Anyone who is self-employed, owns a business, or has freelance income can open their own SEP account to help boost their retirement savings. The money goes into the account tax-free, it grows tax-free, and then the withdrawals are taxed once you start taking them out in retirement. Now, the limits on an account of this type are incredibly high, but there is a catch. You can only contribute up to 25% of your income. If you're self-employed because of tax restrictions, it actually ends up being about 20% of your income. So that would mean in order to max out this account type, you would actually have to have an income of over $300,000. That's no small feat to be sure, but even with a lesser income, it does allow you to put more money away into a tax-deferred account, a tax-advantaged account, allowing you to save more for your future. As of 2022, 36% of US workers participate in freelance work, making this account type an incredible option for them. But sadly, I don't feel like this account type actually gets the attention it deserves. Now, of course, this account isn't perfect. It does have drawbacks, especially when it comes to small businesses with just a handful of employees. But if you are a freelance worker or you are self-employed with no additional employees, I think this account is a great option. Simple IRA contribution limits will increase to $15,500 in 2023. That is a $1,500 increase from the limits in 2022. Simple IRAs function pretty similarly to a traditional IRA or a traditional 401k. They're cost-effective and easy for small businesses to operate, and they are only available to businesses that have less than 100 employees. The downside of a simple IRA is that its contribution limits are lower than those of a 401k or a TSP or account type like that. But they're still a great option as it allows you to put your money into a tax-advantaged account, and many of them have great investment options. A perk, though, is that employer matching contributions are mandatory. Usually it's 2 to 3%, but as long as you elect to participate in the plan, the employer contributions are mandatory. So who doesn't love mandatory free money? The final account types that are seeing a boost in 2023 aren't technically retirement accounts, but rather they're accounts geared more towards medical expenses. The HSA, or Health Savings Account, limits for individuals will be $3,850 and $7,750 for families in 2023, an increase of $200 and $450 respectively. HSAs are only available if you have an employer who offers a high deductible health plan, and they're there so you can set money aside to help cover your medical expenses. The money that you put in goes in pre-tax, so you don't pay taxes on it. Once the money's in the account, you are allowed to invest it, and it can grow completely tax-free. Note that most people do not invest the money in their HSA. It's a great option, but really only 7% of HSA users actually invest that money. And then once you decide that you want to take a withdrawal from this account, as long as you're using that money for a qualified medical expense, you get to take it out completely tax-free. So if you use it just for medical expenses, it goes in tax-free tax-free, can grow tax-free, and comes out completely tax-free. So this is money you never have to pay taxes on. Any unused funds in this account at the end of the year simply roll over into the next year. You don't have to use the money immediately. You can carry it in this account with you for years. Many people actually carry their HSA accounts into retirement and use it to cover healthcare costs once they're retired. And as long as you use it for medical costs, you never face a tax consequence on the money in this account. But many people who are financially savvy and build up their HSAs actually decide to use it for retirement expenses. In that way, it does get treated more like a traditional IRA, so you are taxed if you take the money out to use it to cover things that are non-medical related. But it can serve as a backup retirement account if you want to approach it like that. Keep in mind that if you make a non-medical withdrawal prior to the age of 65, there is a hefty 20% penalty on top of the taxes already owed on the withdrawal. So I wouldn't recommend using it for non-medical expenses, especially prior to a retirement age. Finally, we have the FSA, or the Flexible Spending Account, and it will have contribution limits of $3,050 in 2023, an increase of $200 from 2022. These accounts are not available to those who are self-employed, but they are available to those who have an employer-sponsored health plan, and it does not have to be a high deductible plan. Contributions are made to an FSA account pre-tax, so you don't pay taxes on it, and as long as you withdraw it to pay for approved medical expenses, it comes out completely tax-free. Money going into an FSA cannot be invested, and it must be used by the time the year ends, because if you don't use it, you lose it. Each year, the account starts with a fresh balance of 0. You might notice that the increase in the contribution limits for the retirement accounts was about 8 or 9% in each category. This increase is pegged to inflation. When inflation runs higher, the contribution limits rise faster. When inflation is lower, contribution limits rise more slowly. 2022 has been a high inflation year, so it's only fitting that these accounts are getting a bit of a bigger boost. What account types do you have access to? Do you try to max out your accounts, or do you simply contribute a percentage? Let me know in the comments down below. I post new videos every single week. If you got anything at all out of this one, please give it a like. If you're new here, please consider subscribing, or if you know of someone who might get something out of this type of content, please consider sharing. I'll see you soon. Bye. And sell all of these tax time, matter what, have limits. For instance, allowing your money to not sure if you can hear the geese. You're interested in analyze it to your liking, not their paycheck, control because if you don't use it, contribute it to the plans. Employees, it's a fun fact, are able to max out contribution limits. Operate and have contribution limits are slower. Inside of a simple this account type way, an additional, just know that an option that is retirement option, tax dollars, money, high deductible. Once you start taking withdrawals, freelance income, open up a self account, you reach retirement, you